the inventors sign a written assignment document over to whichever corporate entity they want to.
Have we followed that?
We've got those documents. I don't think we've had them all filed or signed and filed yet.
Let's get them. Oh, Doug was doing that on Tuesday while he was here.
Okay. Did you do some signing of documents?
Yeah.
And then Eliot?
Right.
Okay, so that's in process.
Okay, and that wasn't really the intent of my question. The intent of my question is to define, from my understanding, what should claim back to Ray Joa's patent. And that means that everything other than a macro shell should define back to the original patent and be filed, corrected, amended, however we get it in, to the original patent document. Since none of it's new matter, it's just an explanation mathematically on every equation of what happens.
That's what I heard at the meeting.
And that is exactly what I've heard repeated, and then this morning it was completely opposite, and yesterday it was a little opposite, and I've become very confused about which strategy we're taking, which road, because we decide something, and then it's changed, and we're doing something else, and I'm completely lost.
I think I can make this very clear for you if you'll give me an opportunity.
I will.
Okay. Let's take a look at Claim 1.
Okay.
Claim 1 states that what you're claiming is a method of providing a digital image file for viewing on a user display in a viewing window that has a predetermined size. And the method includes one step. The step is very broadly stated, so bear with me here. Providing a digital image file having an image size comprising a fixed number of pixels representative of an image, wherein that image size is greater than that of the viewing window size. Now, the broad concept that we're trying to claim here is being the first ones to provide a digital image file that has more data than is needed for the window size. And why are we trying to claim that? Because that allows you to zoom into the image without pixelation, and it allows you to pan around the image to corners that maybe are not shown in the original viewing window. Does everybody understand that?
I think so. Yeah. I think we're on the same line.
Okay. All right. So now the question becomes, did we support that claim with relevant description in the specification? And what's our standard? Our standard is that we have to provide enough disclosure in the specification to enable somebody to make and use that invention as claimed. And this person needs to be someone of ordinary skill in the art. In other words, somebody who can read this document, maybe has some technical background in imaging or image processing, for example, and can read what we've put in our document and perform our method claim. Okay?
Yep.
Everyone with me so far?
Mm-hmm.
So we look back into the document that was filed on Wednesday, and we say to ourselves, did we provide enough information in that document to allow somebody to teach somebody how to make and use a digital image file that has an image size greater than the viewing window size? And one might argue that stating the solution in itself almost provides enough information to one of ordinary skill in the art to actually reduce it to practice and to make and use one. However, we've provided not only a description of several different ways of doing it, but also some examples, including math, that should make it abundantly clear to one of ordinary skill in the art how to do it. The test is whether it would require undue experimentation on the part of this fictitious person of
Ray's original filing on...
Let me do that next.
Okay.
Okay? Now, with respect to Ray's original filing, on August 2nd of last year, we asked the exact same inquiry that we're asking when we review the specification that we filed on Wednesday. Did Ray's filing back on August 2nd of 1999 provide enough disclosure and enough teaching to enable one of ordinary skill in the art to make this file?
And we have a lot of disputes on that because it doesn't even cover zooming.
Right. But what it does describe, if I recall correctly, is it does describe that you want to enlarge a print film image to a certain size and then scan it at a high density. Now, it doesn't tell what density. It doesn't give a number of pixels.
Doesn't talk about zooming in on the image.
Doesn't tell the number of pixels. But it does show one way of doing it with a print film image. It doesn't talk about digital images, doing it specifically with digital images. It may refer to it generally. I don't know. But that is the inquiry.
If I hear you correctly, it is less important in the claim to say anything relative to zooming is in the claim to illustrate or to claim that the target image size is larger than the viewing image window, because that is in itself your ability to have the zoom capability.
You're right. Yeah, and you can claim it all different kinds of ways. This was one way that we worked out, both in conjunction with Eliot and Brian 2 weeks ago. This is one of the ways we worked out claiming the invention.
Because ultimately zooming is simply a feature of the invention.
Hold on one sec. Steve?
Yeah.
When I look at Ray's Claim 1, what is claimed? An apparatus for producing a digital image comprising a device for generating a digital signal file from a print film image, and a processor for processing said digital signal file and for generating an image file, wherein said processor generates a first signal file from said digital signal file, and further wherein said processor processes said first signal file and generates said image file.
Okay.
Okay, we all agreed that that is completely insane to describe anything about our invention, the whatever.
I won't call it completely insane, but I think that with the claim that we drafted...
Yeah, he missed the point. Okay, well then the claim we drafted, this was my question, should be right here. And this claim in the patent he filed to date back as far as I can to protect our dates should be changed to the claim we just created.
Oh, no, this application died on Wednesday, and it doesn't proceed to a patent. A provisional application...
No, this isn't provisional. This is a filed patent.
This is the one that was filed March 24th.
Oh, okay.
By Ray Joao.
So this was the PCT filing on March 24th.
Okay, thanks.
And my question is, shouldn't the claims in this patent we just filed be exactly, if not identical, to the one, or should they be transposed to Ray Joao's? And it was my understanding from Doug that for speed and if the patent gets through, etc., that we would rather have it be based into that first patent filing. Otherwise,
that could be a recommended course of action.
And this is going to get dejected.
What we discussed on Monday afternoon was that one of our action items was to go back and review the March 24th filing and decide exactly how we were going to integrate into that filing the claims that are that should be in there vis-a-vis the specification.
Okay.
That was one of the action items that we covered on Monday afternoon.
And now my question, wait. My question further goes to say that once we amend the claims, is there any way to amend the body?
No.
Even if we're not adding new subject matter?
You can amend the body if you don't add new subject matter.
Okay, so we can fix Ray's mess.
You can't add what we added in this application.
Which part? Math is just a description of the old matter, so therefore we should be able to add it.
It's not supported
comfortable with to buff up Ray's original filing?
Sometimes if you change a word or a sentence in the specification,
Yeah.
the examiner will outright reject it for new matter.
Well, who cares? He's going to reject this for insanity in the first place. And he's going to reject this as, what did you patent? Nothing?
Steve, if I'm hearing Steve right, there's very little that we can do to change the language and content of that particular...
No, you're not hearing him right, because you just said you could change all the claims whenever you want, as long as the examiner hasn't approved them. And right now, before the examiner starts looking at this and saying it's nonsense, I'd rather get the right stuff in there. Now, we can get most of this stuff in there, albeit I'm going to need good argumentation as to why we can't get it all in there.
Steve, is that correct?
We can change the scope of the claims of that prior application, then I think that's a good action item. It's a good thing to do. As I mentioned, it's unlikely we'd be able to change the specification substantially. And if we don't quite,
Well, we should throw in the word Zoom if we can.
at some point it becomes a question of, language and what language you've used. And if we start coming in and saying, well, what we were talking about was Zoom and Pan, yeah, it's possible we could get some of those arguments through the examiner, but...
Well, we sure as shit should try.
Well,
It looks like Ray took all this out of here.
it's not as critical as getting one good filing on like we did on Wednesday.
Well, but the date's what's important.
Right.
If it's a March one, then we have one good filing, but it's dated August 2nd. That's the difference.
But it claims priority back to
The original provisional.
the original provisional, which is before this date, again, to the extent that it
Right.
goes back there.
And that's the strategy I have been hearing is the correct approach here, is that we should be cleaning up Ray's filed patent as best as we can without adding subject matter. And I don't think we really have any new subject matter other than a macro shell to re-widget our math, which is okay. We'll leave that out. But I definitely want the underlying math, because that's just not new subject matter. That's just old subject matter defined.